Hello, my name is Blaine Polhamus, and welcome to my presentation about Tom Wood Lexus and their sales force. About Tom Wood Lexus. Tom Wood Lexus is, of course, a car dealership under the Tom Wood Group. So they do sell vehicles. They also service all makes and models. Tom Wood Lexus offers a complimentary pickup and drop-off service for any customer that purchases a new or a certified pre-owned Lexus. So, for example, if that customer is within a 100-mile radius of Tom Wood Lexus, they will actually come to that customer's doorstep, pick up their vehicle, drop it back off to the dealership, and in turn, they will also drop off a loaner vehicle for that customer, so they're not without a vehicle for an extended amount of time. And they also do have a parts department, of course. So they have car parts for old Lexuses all the way up to brand new Lexuses that they sell to customers directly, or they sell to maintenance shops around the town too as well. And another thing that separates Lexus from any other Lexus dealership almost, they're one of the first Lexus dealerships in the whole entire country to become a Lexus Plus dealer. And basically what that means is when a customer stops by at Tom Wood Lexus, they will have one single point of contact, and that's with their dedicated sales consultant. So, for example, at a normal car dealership, a customer will be handed off to a finance manager or a sales manager, but that is not the case at Tom Wood Lexus. Instead, they will stick with their dedicated sales consultant through every single step of the process. And another aspect of Lexus Plus is their pricing. They have upfront negotiation-free pricing on all of their vehicles, new or pre-owned. So, for example, if it's a new vehicle, they actually discount their new vehicles off from the MSRP price to the average market price, and the same story with their pre-owns. They look at what the pre-owns are selling for within this market, and then from there they can discount it back to the average market price. And the only way in which the price would drop is if the market fluctuates, where Tom Wood Lexus feels like they need to adjust their price to stay competitive, or if that unit is aged. So, for example, any unit past, I believe it's 45 days, is when the price will start dropping to stay competitive and also, of course, sell the vehicle a little bit quicker. And here's a little history about the Tom Wood Group itself. The Tom Wood Group was founded 50 years ago by, of course, Tom Wood himself. In 1967, his first franchise was a Pontiac dealership, but since then, he has acquired 18 unique franchises spread over several states. And it's a funny story on how Tom Wood actually acquired Lexus. The Butler Auto Group was in the running for Lexus, but back then, the Lexus brand, it was not really proven as a very successful brand quite just yet because it was so new. So Butler, they decided to not go with the risk, but instead have a Hyundai dealership in replace of it. So in turn, Tom Wood acquired the Lexus brand, and since then it has been their flagship dealership and, of course, very, very successful over the years. For this presentation, I'm only going to be talking about the car sales at Tom Wood Lexus instead of the parts or the service department. So, for example, the vehicles that Tom Wood Lexus does sell are, of course, new Lexus models. They also sell certified pre-owned Lexus models, and how a Lexus becomes certified is it goes through a 161-point inspection, and once that inspection is done, and if it passes Lexus's standards, or if it passes Tom Wood Lexus standards, and of course the customer standards, then it is deemed as a certified vehicle. And with a certified vehicle, you do get an additional 2-year or unlimited mile warranty on top of the factory warranty. So the factory warranty is 4-year or 50,000 miles. So you do potentially have 6 years of total warranty if one purchases a certified Lexus. And when people buy Lexus vehicles, they sometimes just turn in non-Lexus cars. So Tom Wood Lexus, they do have quite a few non-Lexus, non-certified vehicles for sale. On this slide, here are 3 examples of models that Lexus sells. So in the top left corner is the 2017 Lexus RX 350 F Sport. The RX 350 is Lexus's best-selling model, And also, when the RX debuted back in 1997, it was called the RX 300. And the RX 300 sort of started its own class of cars. Back then, there was really no such thing as a luxury SUV, but Lexus sort of made that class, and ever since then, the Lexus RX has been the best-selling luxury SUV in the whole entire market. And right below that is the 2018 LS 500. The Lexus LS is Lexus's flagship model. The LS was the very first model that Lexus came out with back in 1989 is when Lexus started with the LS 400. And the 2018 LS 500, that is a complete redesign. This particular body style should be going to Lexus dealerships towards the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year. And to the right is Lexus's brand new sports car, or supercar if you will. That is the 2018 LC 500. This vehicle is completely brand new. It should be going to the dealership sometime next month, if not in the next couple months. I know that Tomwood Lexus, they actually have 4 LCs coming their way. They have all been spoken for, so Lexus really hopes that this vehicle is going to be a big hit with car enthusiasts and people who enjoy a nice, comfortable, and sporty car alike. So these are 3 of Lexus's either most best-selling new models or their flagship model. As a lot of people say regarding business, location, location, location. Tomwood Lexus is located in central Indiana, and this is particularly good spot because they are located right next to Carmel, which is a fairly wealthy city, as well as next to the whole entire city of Indianapolis. Luckily for Tomwood Lexus, there is not another Lexus dealership anywhere close to them. The closest Lexus dealership is in Fort Wayne, which is over 100 miles away, and then the next closest is in Evansville, Indiana, which is almost 200 miles away. Tomwood Lexus also recently just got finished with a $6 million facelift to the dealership to improve their image. As you can see from the picture, the old dealership looked very dated, and it was time for a change. Some aspects that the new dealership has that the other didn't. The new dealership now has an indoor delivery staging area where customers can take delivery of their vehicles indoors, away from the elements. The dealership now has a cafe which offers premium coffee, sandwiches, snacks, and desserts. There are many lounges now too, which one that has a linear fireplace. All of this is to build value with the customer to make them want to come back and hopefully refer other people as well. Here are the different types of sales departments as well as leads. You have your sales consultants, which are your typical salespeople. They do the test drives, they finish the deal, they run numbers, that sort of thing. And then you have the internet sales departments. Their job is to assist customers with any third-party inquiries, as well as answer any sales calls through the dealership. And a relatively new position called the Vehicle Exchange Specialist. Their job is to assist customers who are looking to turn in their lease or they're looking to purchase their lease. So, for example, if a customer is done with their lease, they're not looking to release another one, or they're just looking to get out of the brand, that's when they help ground their vehicle. Grounding their vehicle only takes about 15 minutes to do. And the reason why the salespeople don't do that is because they are so extremely busy, it would just hinder them, and they would not really benefit from grounding a vehicle. And another example, if a person is leasing a vehicle, they absolutely love that car, and they're looking to buy it out, that's when they come into play as well, too. So the reason why the vehicle exchange specialists help with the process of buying out a lease instead of a sales consultant is that it actually doesn't really help the sales consultant as much as it would help the vehicle exchange specialist. And the reason why it would not really help a sales consultant is because most of what the sales consultant is paid off of is products or any gross back end. And the reason why there is really no gross back end with a buyout is because when the person originally leased the vehicle, that's when they purchased any additional add-ons like warranty or wheel protection, that sort of thing. Typically, people don't buy those when they purchase their lease. So the vehicle exchange specialist, it's part of their pay plan with buyouts as well as lease turn-ins. And the different lead types, as you can imagine, walk-in people, referrals, third-party, like I mentioned before, as well as sales calls. So how Tom Wood Lexus organizes walk-ins is they have an up system. So basically what that means is they have someone who is ready to take any walk-ins. You have someone on deck, and then you have someone behind those two people. So the person who is ready for walk-ins, they have 30 minutes to, it's what's called in the car business, have an up. They assist anyone who walks into the dealership within that 30-minute time, and if someone walks in before that 30-minute time, then it's transferred to the person on deck, or if no one walks in during that 30-minute time, then of course it's still transferred to the person on deck. And this just creates a more organized system. It's more fair. That way people don't think that, oh, this person is getting more leads than this person. That way it's always fair. It's always the set amount of time in which someone is up. And then referrals, that's kind of obvious. If someone really likes the business here, then they would refer them to that particular salespeople. And that's always the goal too, because I was talking to Tom Wood Lexus's general sales manager. What she told me when she was a salesperson here, that she actually had a customer that was so picky with a car, it actually took her exactly 1 year to find a vehicle that finally suit his needs. And he was so happy with Tina, that's because he was so picky that he was happy because Tina didn't get angry or frustrated with him. He was so happy with Tina that he actually referred 10 people to her. They all bought cars, and of course, those 10 people who bought the cars referred people back to Tina too. So it just pays off to create a great experience for the customer in the long run. And so third-party leads, these are the leads that someone inquires about through the internet. So for example, through Car Gurus, Tom Wood Lexus, they actually have their own chat system online. You can talk to a person in the internet sales department. So any leads that come through the system, the internet sales takes care of. And then from there, the internet sales department, they answer any questions up front. They set up an appointment to come by our dealership and then meet with a sales consultant. And then sales calls, that's pretty self-explanatory as well too. If someone is inquiring about a vehicle, they call the dealership and just ask any questions from there. And of course, the internet sales department, that's their job too. So the same thing with third party, answer their questions, set up an appointment to stop in. Like any other car dealership, Tom Wood Lexus has a CRM to organize their customers. Their CRM is called Dealer Peak. As you can see from the picture, it is very well organized and very easy to navigate. Within Dealer Peak, there are different statuses to organize the leads, such as active, feature, and trash. Within the statuses, there are sub-statuses. For example, under active, there are no contact, contacted, and commitment to purchase. Commitment to purchase is probably the most important one because this tells other salespeople as well as the managers if this person is committed to a particular vehicle. When a customer is in this status, that means that they either have a deposit on the car or they are going to sign paperwork within the next couple of days. There are a few categories under the future status, and that is ongoing follow-up, 30-day follow-up, and long-term follow-up. The future status is for customers who are not quite yet in the market. Say, for example, in 3 months they will be, but because they're also in the status, that means they're not completely out of the market. That's when the trash status comes into play. The trash status allows a salesperson to put customers in these statuses, no longer in market, bought elsewhere, and couldn't agree on terms, to name a few. Putting them in the status allows the salesperson to no longer worry about this person, no longer waste time to follow up either. So having these three statuses really helps the salesperson organize their customers and follow up them in the correct manner. The process of selling a vehicle to a customer is how you would normally expect it to go at a car dealership. Except for at Tom Wood Lexus, of course, they eliminate the hassle of negotiating because of Lexus Plus. When a customer walks into the showroom, a sales consultant greets that person and immediately asks if they are familiar with Lexus Plus. And that's just to eliminate any confusion down the road. From there, the sales consultant asks probing questions such as, what about this vehicle interests you? What features do you need in a vehicle? And just overall develop a good sense on why they're here and what kind of buyer they are. After the sales consultant has narrowed down to a vehicle, then they will go on a test drive. Typically, the sales consultant will drive first so he or she can show the guest the features and how the vehicle operates. Halfway through the test drive, the sales consultant will then hand over the keys to the guest. If the guest really likes the vehicle, and then they will discuss vehicles and numbers a little bit further. This process is also a little bit different from a typical dealership because instead of discussing these topics at an office type table, the sales consultant and the guest will discuss around a round table. I asked the general manager why he preferred it this way, and he said that it is because it is less intimidating to sit around a round table as opposed to sitting face to face at a desk. After they have discussed the vehicle and agreed to numbers, then they will go to a special office where they complete paperwork and finalize the deal. At Tomwood Lexus, they use a system called DocuPad. DocuPad is an interactive selling and document processing system where guests sign paperwork electronically. See the picture for a reference. Using this system just simplifies everything a lot more because no one has to deal with the hassle of signing actual paperwork, and of course this is a lot better for the environment. Lexus as a brand takes training very seriously for their employees. Before someone in the sales department is able to assume a role in sales, they must complete and pass quite a few tests. There are about 20 different tests, and each come with a webinar that the person must complete as well. Not only do people in the sales department have to complete these tests, but it is also highly recommended by Lexus for other people in other departments to complete this test as well, so the dealership is able to be part of Lexus Elite. Those tests are just preliminary training, but over the course of the years, there are on-site and off-site trainings. On-site training is where a few people from Lexus come to a dealership to teach the people in sales about new and upcoming features of the cars, or just to refresh their memories. Off-site training is when a small group of people from the dealership go to Chicago at a Lexus headquarters where they are taught customer relation skills, phone skills, product knowledge, and much more. All of these on-site and off-site trainings go towards another purpose as well. After one completes 4 core classes, 4 electives, and is with the company for 2 years, that person becomes Master Certified. Being Master Certified is not only a bragging right, but it comes also with a high reward. If you choose to do so when you are Master Certified, Lexus will give you $400 per month towards a Lexus lease. Being Master Certified is just a huge incentive to complete your training while learning a lot as you reach the goal. Here are some rough sales figures for the internet sales as well as the overall sales for the dealership. Typically, in an average month, there are about 170 to 190 total third-party leads. Out of the total amount of leads, about 35 to 40 of them become sold and finalized. Last month, according to the Internet Sales Supervisor, had a closing rate at 20.7% for third parties. This number does not calculate the amount of sales that come from sales calls, however, which is about 15 to 20 sales in a given month. In total, the dealership can expect around 120 to 150 sales. From Lexus, they require the dealerships to hit a certain amount of new and certified pre-owned sales. Last month, the amount of new sales target was 65, and for pre-owned it was 75, 47 of which had to be certified pre-owns. Performance standards and compensation. A recent change at Tomwood Lexus made it so a salesperson has to have at least 9 minimum sales to get compensated. Tomwood Lexus believes this is pure motivation for the consultant, therefore he or she will try much harder to achieve the minimum amount of 9 sales. On average, there are about 10 to 11 sales per person in a given month. Of course, this number does fluctuate during certain times of the year. For example, January and February are probably the 2 slowest times of the year because it is the coldest, and it is after December, because December is the fastest time of the year because that is when Lexus has many great incentives for new vehicles. and it is called December to Remember Sales Event. At Tom Wood Lexus, these sales consultants are not commission-based, so a person can sell a $5,000 Corolla, or they can sell a $100,000 Lexus LX 570 and still receive the same base pay. This goes back to the Lexus Plus business model, because if a sales consultant is not getting paid off of a commission based on the vehicle's value, then that sales consultant is not motivated to do what is known as a bait and switch. Instead, the consultants are always making sure the customer is able to get what he or she came to the dealership to buy in the first place. There are also additional bonuses besides a base rate pay and getting paid on product. There are vehicles that have been in stock for way too long, and these vehicles are called smiley face cars. Any car you see with a smiley face on the windshield indicates that this vehicle has been in stock for a long time, but therefore the price on that particular vehicle has been reduced in price extremely aggressively. Because a dealership gets fined for any new cars extending past 90 days, the dealership incentivizes sales consultants and sells any vehicles with a smiley face with additional bonuses. For example, the last 2016 model Tom Wood Lexus had was a GSF, a high-performance sports sedan. From the MSRP, the GSF was discounted almost $20,000. The GSF is such a niche vehicle that Tom Wood Lexus had an extremely hard time selling it, and it was in stock for almost 180 days. In turn, the general manager rewarded the sales consultant who sold the car $900 extra. Here is my bibliography, the people that I interviewed, as well as the Tom Wood Lexus homepage websites. Of course, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to message me and I'll be happy to answer them.